Today I am going to be talking about something that I am really proud of, something that I'm very honored to be part of, and something that I think you guys are really going to love. It is the 100 Days of Making Comics Anthology 2, Werewolves and Unicorns. And while we do that, we're also going to go behind the scenes and kind of show you some of the artwork that went into the cover of this awesome project. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And sometimes those threats can come in the form of werewolves or possibly even unicorns. And those are the subject of the anthology that I've been working on for so long. Not just me, but a lot of other awesome artists. And we have completed this thing. It is the 100 Days of Making Comics Anthology, Werewolves and Unicorns and Other Mythical Creatures. It is now live on Kickstarter. It is an anthology made up of, I think there's 28 creators, I believe. I'm not sure if I had that number correctly, but a lot of awesome creators, and it's just a really cool project. And I wanted to kind of talk about this. If you've watched my series on 100 Days of Making Comics, the last round that I did, you got to see some of the process of like these pages coming together. This is part of my story. It's called Many Miles Away. It is based on the Police song Synchronicity 2, and it does feature a cryptid by the name of, or we know it as, the Loch Ness Monster. So that's my mythical creature, but everyone else is doing something different. There are werewolves, there are unicorns, there are griffins, there are, I don't know, there's all kinds of stuff. But you have to kind of find out it by backing the Kickstarter. It is live right now. Like I said, there is a link in the description of this video. Now, I don't expect you to go back to project without knowing anything about what this thing is. So I want to talk to you about it. I want to tell you all about this project, why it's so awesome, why I'm so happy to be part of it, and I want to show you the process of the cover. And I guess I can show it to you. I can show it to you sort of semi-complete. It's in two pieces here. So these two pieces will come together, but I'm going to show you this thing in action, coming together without any further delay. Let's get to that right now. Alright, so I am going to be talking about the process of this cover for the 100 Days of Making Comics Anthology. I also want to talk a little bit about the hundreds, let everyone know what it's about, and how you can get involved if it sounds like something you might want to do. So first of all, so this is the first time I actually have done a cover or a comic book project that I penciled digitally. Unfortunately, I didn't record that process, so we're kind of starting in from the inking. And the first thing I usually do is just do all my line work, the straight lines and everything using a straight edge, which this is sort of a rolling map ruler that I really like. So that's kind of what I'm using to lay everything out. And of course I use microns for all my straight lines, and then I'll go in later with the brush and everything. But I start off just by, doing the logo and anything that's going to contain straight lines and things like that. So that's that. We'll get back into the process in a minute, but I want to talk about the 100 Days of Making Comics, which we call ourselves the Hundreds with two E's, T-H-E-E, because I guess the single E was taken, belongs to something else. But anyway, so it is a group started by Kevin Cross. Well, I don't know if he meant to actually start the group, but he started the challenge. And basically what the challenge is, and like I mentioned, you spend 30 minutes a day, every day, working on your own personal comic book project. And you do that for 100 days straight, and every single day you let people know about it just to hold yourself accountable. And by the end of that process, you don't necessarily have to have a finished book, but it's just to help you get further along on projects, because 30 minutes isn't a lot. Everyone can find that 30 minutes in the day to work on their project. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't, but if you set out to take this challenge, then it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna hold you accountable, and it's just a little bit at a time, but that will all add up, and at the end you're gonna have a lot done on your comic book project. And it really helped me out. I mean, before I was really not completing any comic book projects, so this challenge has done so much for me. I can't explain it in words, other than I wouldn't be as productive on all my projects across the board if I hadn't started to take this challenge. And I was kind of lucky enough to start early on in the challenge, and it's I think I was probably, I heard recently that somebody said I was like the second person to take it on. I don't think that's true. I think Marshall Lee had already done it. There was another guy, Jamie Gamble, who's a writer. I don't know that he's really involved so much anymore. I'm not sure what he's up to, but I think he was doing it as well. And then somewhere around that same time that I started, I think Peter Palmiotti had also started, and he's still very much involved. He's actually in this book, same with Marshall Lee. So a lot of people from the beginning are still, not only involved in the challenge, but involved in this anthology. Now, the anthology is something separate. In order to be eligible to be in the anthology, all you have to do is have completed that challenge once. Now, there have been hundreds of people that have taken the challenge. I would venture to say hundreds of people probably have completed it, maybe. But there's probably many more that did not. So, maybe, I don't know if there's been 100 that have completed it, but there somewhere out there is a spreadsheet with all this information. I kind of want to see it, and I want to kind of remember, oh yeah, I remember that person taking it and everything, because some people, they'll take it and then they'll kind of drop off. Some people kind of stay involved with the whole project throughout and everything. But it's really cool. So many people have done it, and it's got to the point where, I can imagine for Kevin Cross, who started this, it's got to be just incredible to him that it's done what it is. But even for somebody like me who's been with it for such a long time, it's hard for me to keep track of everyone that's doing it. So every once in a while somebody will pop up and I'll try to check it out, but I want to see, hopefully with the website, and there is a website, Robert Johnson is working on, or he has built the website, but I think he's continuing to update it. He's another one of the contributors to this anthology. So, but he's doing the web hosting, or the web design and all that kind of stuff, and I think there is some sort of plans to kind of let people know, somewhere on there where you can kind of find out who's taking it or whatever, or maybe maybe that information is on the Facebook page, which is also a thing. And I will try to leave links to this stuff in the description. Of course, the main link we want to talk about is the Kickstarter, which is live right now. Now, there is a little contest going, and everyone that's in the book has their own personal link. So if you click on it through my link, that's going to help. There is a contest going, and I think if you win the contest, you are automatically eligible to be in the next versions, assuming we do an issue 3, which I'm pretty sure it is inevitable, because everyone's really digging what we're doing and everything. So, and not only because if you've already been in one of them, you're kind of supposed to let other people get involved. Now, sometimes people will drop out, and it just depends how many people want to go, but want to be in the anthologies. But we've got 28 creators. A few dropped out, so people like Mike Emirates, who runs the whole thing, he kind of stepped up, even though he did a story in the first one. So there is a possibility that I could get in if I want to. I don't know. I have to kind of see what my schedule is. But this time around was really cool because I got to, as you're looking at this right now, I got to actually do the cover as well, and my 4-page story. When is the first version, which was called Life in Space, that was the theme of the first anthology, I just did a pinup. So I kind of I want to be more involved this time, and boy, I kind of got my wish, because I'm doing the cover, I'm doing the 4-page story, and also I have to write the intro, or the the forward to the book, to kind of introduce what it's all about and everything. So I got to get on that. But anyway, so in addition to all that stuff, if you click on my link, and if more people click on my link and go through that into the Kickstarter, then I not only get that chance to be in the next anthology, but I also get to pick the theme. Now, here's the thing. This theme, I have to be honest, I was not really a fan of. There were some other really great ones. In the end, I kind of like where it went, and it really, once I kind of sat down, I'm going to kind of go all over the place, but I want to say that sometimes, things that are, the things that kind of confine us creatively are the things that give us the most, I don't want to say inspiration, or they really allow us to stretch our creative muscles. And just because of the limitations of the theme of this book, you know, for one reason or another, I was able to come up with what I think is a really cool idea for this cover, and I'm kind of happy with kind of just that, because I struggle with the idea, because I was not really a fan of the werewolves and unicorns together. I mean, I'm a big fan of monsters, and I do like werewolves, like the classic Universal Studios monsters. Werewolves are probably not my favorite. I would say like Frankenstein or Creature from the Black Lagoon are, but you know, but I like all that stuff. So werewolves, but then how does that fit in with unicorns? It's kind of, I get the irony or just the humor in it and everything, but how to make that work as a cover, I wasn't sure. So anyway, but some of the other ideas that were thrown out, which I really liked, was there were two, and I don't know if Marshall had come up with these ideas, but he definitely was the one voting them up, because in the beginning everyone was voting on the idea for this this anthology. Everyone that had completed the challenge got to vote, or who was going to be in it, and one of them was Tales of the Cryptid, which I really like, and I kind of went in that direction a lot with this cover anyway. As you can see, it is definitely an homage to old EC Comics Tales from the Crypt style. It's a very distinct style of comic book cover. If you've seen them, you know. I mean, it's basically, it looks similar to what I'm showing you here, where there's a big bar that takes up almost a third of the top with the title. And then underneath you've got the main image, and then off to the left-hand side you're going to have these three circles that kind of, in the Tales from the Crypt and those type of things, they would mention kind of the different like characters that were introducing the stories, like the Crypt Keeper or the Grave Caper. I think there were like three different, or like the Old Hag was one of them. So a lot of those kind of were repeated through all of those. But I decided to use that opportunity, as you can see now, to do like some of the major cryptids, like the, you know, Bigfoot and the Griffin and sort of sea monster and everything. Back to the process, and I'm gonna kind of jump back and forth because I don't want to skip around. I don't want to skip some of the process. So right now I've obviously outlined everything that's going to be straight edge lines, and now I am using a brush and a dip pen. I still think I can ink faster traditionally than digitally. That's not the case with penciling. I know I can pencil faster digitally, but if you've ever watched people ink traditionally, a lot of times they'll make a line and they'll make another one in order to get it right. But for me, once the pencil's down, I can just go ahead and just go over it with my brush, and I don't have to keep, well, you can't really undo, so you got to get it right that first time, and usually it's okay. It's fairly simple for me to get it right the first time, and if not, a little white out and go over it again. But so yeah, I use a couple different brushes. I think this is a Winsor Newton Series 7. I also I think I use a Cotman watercolor brush that's a little cheaper. You can find it at Michael's and everything, but it's usually around a number 1, and that's kind of what I do, just dip. And I'm using Deleter Black number 4, which is a matte finish black, really nice coverage, and then number 5 Deleter Black is sort of a glossy, but now I'm kind of liking the matte. Now this is the other part of the cover. I did it in 2 parts because what you're going to see in the cover is a mirror reflection of this girl who's turning into a werewolf. So I decided to do her on a separate piece, not as the mirror reflection, but then just reverse it in Photoshop. And then in the back cover, you're going to see her not in reverse, so you're going to see it like this, and you're going to see all that extra stuff that you see in the background here. And of course this will be colored. I'm not going to show you the color process on this, but I did record that, so we'll show that in another video. So that's kind of where we are with this. We're going to take these 2 images, scan them into Photoshop, and kind of create that image of the cover where she is looking in a vanity with some unicorn stickers and of course all that other stuff that we saw in the beginning, and I think it's going to be a really cool effect. Well, I've already seen it because I'm talking from the past. But yeah, so I'm really happy with the way this turned out. But back to what I was talking about before, the other idea that I thought was an excellent idea was for a theme was Comic Shop of Horrors, and I just love the play on words, like Little Shop of Horrors, Comic Shop of Horrors, and I thought it would be cool even if we had sort of
a creepy comic store owner that was kind of in the vein of the Crypt Keeper, and maybe even could introduce some of the stories, which I still love that idea. But we had so many creators wanting to be involved this time. There wouldn't have been, I don't think there would have been any pages that we could dedicate to somebody introducing a particular set of stories. Definitely you couldn't have somebody introduce every story because there's just so many, but even if we wanted to come in like in the beginning, in the middle, and the end, I thought that would be kind of cool. But I love that idea of like this creepy kind of curioed comic store. I still would love to see something happen with that. Although because we've done kind of science fiction with Life in Space before, now we've sort of done horror in a way, sort of horror humor. I don't know if it would make sense to go with the horror on the next one too. I think might have to go with something else, but I still really love that idea of the comic shop of horrors, and I'd definitely love to see something like that. I just think that's a great idea. So that all being said, if you click on my link, if you go to the Kickstarter, back it, then the more people that come through my link, the bigger chance I have of getting to choose the theme. But it all turned out, this one it all turned out. I mean, I like the idea of that Tales from the Cryptid, and that's kind of what I kind of went with anyway, even though it was sort of this werewolves and unicorns theme. And man, I struggled with so long with the idea of what to do with this, because I'm like, oh, do I have a werewolf and unicorn kind of facing off? That seemed a little kind of the obvious route to go. And then I was thinking, well, what if I did sort of like a hybrid werewolf unicorn, like it was like a sort of like a centaur, but part werewolf, part unicorn. But it almost seemed like that might look better as sort of a really cool like fantasy style illustration. And I am not a painter, I mostly comic book stuff, line art and vector art and stuff like that. But I'm not a painter, so I could not have pulled that off. Somebody like Jeff Lafferty, who was also involved, who was also featured in this thing, he could have done something like that. So if it ever gets to the point where he gets to do the cover, maybe he could do some real cool fantasy thing. But I think it goes in order of kind of who joined, although it's not exactly right, because like I said, I think Marshall had started before me, and for whatever reason, the first cover, Kevin Cross, because he started it, second cover, myself, and Marshall, I believe, is going to be doing the cover for the third one, assuming it happens, which I have no reason to think it won't. So, speaking of the third one, you may be asking yourself, you may say, oh, this sounds kind of cool, how can I get involved? Well, the only prerequisite, and this is the cool thing about this challenge, is we've got industry veterans, people that have worked for like Marvel and DC, like Jeff Lafferty, Peter Palmiotti. We've got people like myself who are industry professionals who may not have worked for the big two. And personally, I don't really. That's not really something. I like doing my own independent stuff anyway. And then sometimes I'll do stuff for ad agencies and things like that, comic style work for that. Because honestly, it pays a little more than what even Marvel or DC pays. But I think I'll get into all that on another one when I show the color. I want to talk about kind of working for free on projects you like, and kind of the what people pay for comic book art and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get into that on another video when I show the colors. But if you want to get involved in the third anthology, you have to have completed the challenge. And like I was saying, we've got industry professionals, we've got people that are just kind of starting off, getting their feet wet, getting started in comics, and everyone involved. It's so great because you're going to see all different skill levels, but the thing that makes everyone equal is the fact that they do things, they complete things, they finish things. And that's a very important thing, especially in comics, is just to finish something. And so that's what you have to do. You have to complete the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge successfully. And if you do that, or if you have done that, then you are eligible to be in one of these books. Now, does it pay? I mean, do you get money from it? Yes and no. I mean, depending on how successful this thing is, everyone gets a book. Like if we hit our goal, everyone who ordered their stuff everyone who contributed to Kickstarter gets their rewards, and all the creators get one book. Now, as it goes up, the more money we make, the more books we get, and we can turn around and sell those books. So we can make some money off of it, because after the Kickstarter, these won't get reprinted. So the only way after the Kickstarter is just to get it from one of the creators that has books. So we in turn can turn that around and sell it. But for me, it's just doing this because it's something I really love, and I want to see more people get involved with. You know, as much as I might like to do the next one, I would gladly step aside and let other people join, because I just want to see more people get involved with the hundreds, and I just think it's an awesome thing, and I would really want you to consider taking the challenge and thinking about actually committing to that and maybe getting in the next anthology. I think that'll be really cool.
All right, so there you go, the 100 Days of Making Comics Anthology number 2, Werewolves and Unicorns and Other Mythical Creatures. Kind of a mouthful, but you don't have to type in all that stuff. All you have to do is go in the link in the description of this video, click on that link, it'll take you right to the Kickstarter, and please consider, you know, check it out first, but consider backing it, because it is really awesome. So many awesome artists, and if we can successfully back this above and beyond even our kind of modest goal, then, you know, obviously more of these will come out, and I really want to see this, because I want to see this keep continuing to go. And who knows, you could, you know, if you decide to take this challenge, it's all it is 30 minutes a day, every day. I say all it is, but you know, it's harder than it sounds. But anyway, 30 minutes a day, every day, working on your own personal comic book project, and then you let people know about it on social media. And yeah, that's it. That's the challenge. And if you do that for 100 consecutive days straight, you will be eligible to be in a future one of these anthologies. So we want to keep it going, keep new talent coming in, and really, you know, this is a project I would love to see just long term going and going and going and picking up more speed, and it has done that in the past. Now that we've got a second one out, there's no reason why we can't just continue this thing. So help make this really successful, and really check out that Kickstarter and consider backing it. And I will be back later, probably next week, maybe sooner, I don't know, we'll see, with another video. But until then, I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.